So we are here for our Fortigate firewall. There is like a basic requirement whenever you are moving for any of the firewall that you should be having a basic understanding of the networking, right? So I hope everybody is having some background in the networking, that they're like not required to certified of the CCNA, but yeah, basic understanding of the networking is very essential. Like what are the subnetting, what how the static routes works, or what are the internal routing protocol, what are the dynamic routing protocol. So these type of knowledge is very important in order to understand the concept of the firewalls, because this is will be required whenever we're configuring our firewalls. Next thing, this includes some of the concept of the security, right? So if you have little background of the security, that is an added advantage. And if you don't have, that's not a problem. I'll be explaining you from the scratch, like all the basics, and then we will move forward. So like moving forward, I just want to understand that do any of you have some background in the firewalls or in the networking fields? Say yes, yes on the chat, or networking or security, anything you can type. It will be good to understand, like proceed in the pace. Just let's keep it interactive, otherwise you will not get no benefit on this. I don't see any messages or okay, cool. Network just routing and switching. I see some of other messages as well. Okay, that's fine. So that's fine. Like if you are in the networking and routing and switching, I will introduce you the concept of the security, and then we will move forward towards the uh, firewalls. So let me introduce myself. My name, I think you already see on the window. Okay. And I have 12 years of experience. That includes networking, security. So whenever I talk about security, that includes network security as well as the cyber security. So I'm having good exposure of the cyber security as well. And if I talk about my this training exposure from last 4 years, 4 to 5 years, I'm just on the teaching profession along with my regular job where I'm working as a like firewall administrator, as well as I'm also looking for the cyber security stuff like other vulnerability and all. So, all right. So let's move further and about these topics. And if you have any question, a small question, you can ask in between. If you have like very elaborative or interactive questions are required, we will take those questions at the end. Okay. So I hope everybody just follows that, so that like what other people others are there, they do not get confused or they not get interference in between. So let's check. Let me move this to the left hand side. Yeah. So if I talk about the routing and switching, because I consider you that the very basics that you are just a networking guy. Okay. So if you just have a look on the networking, you see very first option, that is our switch, right? Anybody knows the concept of the switches, that how switch work? What is the basic functionality of the switch? Nobody?
For the connectivity,
Okay. The connectivity, and the very important thing that it forwards the frame in the same VLAN, right? And very important thing is that this is the within network. So any frame, like suppose this is our switch, any frame enters to its port, it looks that what are the ports are on the same VLAN, and it forwards that frame or sends to that same VLAN interfaces like this.
So, sorry to interrupt you in between. So, actually, are you drawing something on your screen?
Yeah, are you able to see it or you don't see
No,
that?
We can't
we are
see
able to
anything.
see
no,
only
we are
black
not able
screen.
to see the screen at all.
The screen is
Oh, okay.
black. We'll
Black.
see. Yeah.
Okay, let me change the way.
Only
Okay, I understand. I just shared the window only, and because of that, you're not able to see my screen. Let me change that. Okay, just hold on. I'll stop the share and share it again. Is this fine now? You see the drawing what I'm writing, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, for example, like we have our switch and any frame comes here on, let me change the color. So if any frame comes here on the same VLAN, wherever the same VLAN, let's suppose 100 VLAN is there, my packet like frame will be sent on those ports only, right? It doesn't go to any other. For example, we have some other VLANs on VLAN 200 or 110. The frame will not be sent on that one. So this is the basic concept of the switch. Whenever we move to our router, right? So router basically works on our IP addresses, the basic things it takes our IP addresses, takes decisions based on routing table, right? So how it works basically, how it takes a decision. So for example, if I take a router here, right, and it has multiple interfaces, let's suppose three interfaces, and we have network one on this interface, network two on this interface, network three on this interface. All right. So if you have three networks, and now any packet comes towards any specific destination. For example, it has to move to destination 20.20.20, right? So this router has certain routing table that where this destination 20.20.20 is available. On which interface I should forward? I should forward towards this interface or I should forward towards this interface. This decision is taken based on the lookup of the routing table. Okay. It lookups routing table, takes the decision, and then send that packet. So whatever it is available right now in both of the devices, switch and router, there is a no restriction. Like any of the frame comes, it forwards to the same VLAN. Any of the packet comes in the router, it lookups to the destination IP address, and based on that, it sends to that interface. There was no security involved. Security means that we want restriction. Like if I don't want to forward or send any packet towards the interface, routing is in the place, but I want to stop that packet to be forwarded to that interface, even when the routing is there, or not the complete packet or all the packet, any specific, for example, only I want to block the port number 443. That in packet which is having the destination port 443, that only should not be forwarded. Remaining other port number can be sent. So if you need that granular control, that is not possible with the only functionality of the router. We have to include some of the security features. So our router have that security feature that is called as the access control list. Anyone heard of the access control list? That is also called as ACL. If you know it, just say yes. Okay, I see some of the messages. So I think less people know, or you don't know, because I think if you are from the networking background, you should know access control list. I see very less interaction. Comparatively, like whenever I used to take, we have like a lot of responses. Say at least yes or no. It will be good for me as well as for you. Okay. So I consider that you know that access control list. And if I move further, just a minute. Yeah. So if I talk about our access control list have the syntax like our source IP address, source port, destination IP address, and destination port, right? So it has a rule. Let me clear this. If it has a rule, for example, I want to permit IP address 192.168.1.10 to reach to IP address 8.8.8, okay, then on port 443. Let's take some other IP addresses because this is Google data, or just fine. This for example. Okay. So for example, we want to allow this. So this is our source IP. This is the destination IP. And this is our destination port, right? So if I format it, then only router will allow that communication, else it will not permit that. We have a routing in place, but still it will not allow to pass through it. This is a type of the security feature you can say. Okay. So we are controlling the traffic. Right. So rather than we are giving more security features in the routers, we decided to implement a security device. So that we usually call it as a firewall. Okay. So now what we do that let the switches and router there do their own core jobs. Let the switch do frame forwarding, like for broadcast in the same VLAN. Let the routers do the routing, looking up to the routing table and forward that packet. And security job, which the control we are having, let firewall do it. What are the benefit of it? Like we are not putting extra burden on the routing devices. So if you include all the features, everything on the router, your router resources, CPU and memory uses uh, going to be very high. And result will be that like if they are highly overutilized, your device may restart or can be shut it down, right? So it will be an outage on your network. Or another way, like if you want to avoid that, you keep on monitoring these ones. They need high resources, they need high CPU, high memory, then only they can perform these functions. So what we did, we decided to move, like implement all the features here on the firewall. So our firewall is capable of controlling our security devices. And now we are just, whenever it comes to any security job or responsibility of the security, then we will take the help of the firewall, or we will prefer to assign it to the firewall. It doesn't mean that we will stop that using that ACL here. We may, based on our requirements, but obviously, like whenever it comes to the uh, highly utilized or high resources performance is required for the security perspective, then we move towards the firewall. Whenever we go to the firewalls are basically the two types. Okay, so the one of the first type is the legacy firewall. Another way is our next generation firewall. Okay, the difference in both of them is that the legacy firewalls having features up to the access control list. Access control list means it controls the traffic up to L4. So if you remember your OSI model, so up to layer 4, we are having the port numbers, right? So L4, L3, L2, L1. These controls only are available in the legacy firewalls. It means you can block the traffic based on the source IP address, destination IP address, source port, destination port. Only these options are available in the legacy firewall. For example, you want to block or permit facebook.com, right? Let's suppose you want to block the facebook.com in your organization. Can you block this using these fields? No, you cannot, because you uh, that I will not say that you cannot, but it's like really tough, because one thing you can do, like you can do the check the IP address of facebook.com and you block the destination IP. There's the one way, but it cannot directly block the facebook.com. It cannot read that what URL you are trying to access. That feature is available on the next generation firewall. So in next generation firewall, I say that it controls the traffic up to the application layer. So whenever I say the application layer, it can read the traffic, read the data, whatever is traveling inside that packet in the application layer. So if it can read the data, it will be able to read it that, okay, you are trying to access the facebook.com. Once it can read it, I can take a decision. I can make a policy that whether I have to permit facebook.com or I want to block it. Magic or the strong point of the next generation firewall is that they can read the traffic of the application layer. So if they can read the traffic, we can also find the virus, right? If any of the malicious file is traveling inside our packet, my firewall will be able to detect it. So it can have the feature of the antivirus. Antivirus feature can be also available on the next generation firewall, right? So whatever, like I'm talking about this facebook.com blocking this one, this feature is called as the web filtering, or you can say the URL filtering. So these options are available. We also having like our antivirus feature. We have application control. There are different applications are available that can be also allowed and blocked based on our requirement, right? So this is the difference between the legacy firewalls and next generation firewall. Let me know if you have any question in this. Okay. So don't see any question. That's okay. I have it. Or just turn it up. All good. Okay. Let me create this and let's move further. So today, like this session, uh, we are going to learn about the Fortigate firewall. But obviously, like you will be having in your mind that why only Fortigate firewall? There are like lot of options are available in the market, right? Is that only Fortigate is there? So for that, we went to the researcher website partner. So that's like third party, you can say, and this is very good in the research and forecasting. Okay. So whenever they provide a survey based on the performance is to configure and based on the other parameters, they pick the survey. And whenever they found it, they found it that top uh, firewall is one of the firewall is FortiGate firewall. So if I just quickly go to link here, Gartner firewall quadrant. Okay. So let's see in the 2024 what it was. I think 2023 will be better because 24 is not completed yet. So let's go for the 2023. I think that will be the better way. Okay. So if I check the survey of the 2023, that what was the last trend in the previous year, then we can see that. Okay, this is not the right one. Quadrant. Okay, this is 2020. Okay, but this is similar. This is of 2020. But if you search in the Google, you will see it that it is similar to this one. So if you see the leaders in this section, there are three firewalls: Palo Alto Networks, Fortinet, and Checkpoint Software. So these three are the leaders in the market of the firewalls. Palo Alto, you see the little bit in the top, but it doesn't mean that it is in the top. They're like whatever is in this quadrant, they are all the leaders. Okay, so they're like here and there. It just keeps on going up and down based on the surveys and some other parameters. But if you see that Fortinet firewall is one of the leaders in this section, we have some other challengers like Cisco, Huawei, Juniper Networks. Okay, a lot of niche players they are available. Like Microsoft is there, Sonic Wall, right? WatchGuard, Barracuda. They are also available. They are like trying to struggle and come to this visionaries or the challenger section, but they have to like move to the visionaries and challengers, and then finally they go into the leaders. So if we are learning our FortiGate firewall, you understand that okay, we are already in the learning a firewall which is in the demand and people are going for it. So this it gives like more career opportunities, right? So I forgot to write more career opportunities. So and it is like very uh, convenient that whenever you learn one of the firewall, only the GUI is little bit different. Otherwise, the concept remains the same. So sometimes uh, it's easy and becomes correlatable to the firewalls, and we go for the configuration, right? So if I move further to the FortiGate firewall in the learning section, and I took a firewall which is basically a Fortigate firewall. Okay. And if it has the multiple interfaces, okay. For example, this is port 1 of the firewall. This is port 2. This is port 3. Okay. So by default of the FortiGate, all the communication, like let's suppose we have a computer here, okay, connected on the port 1. We can say COM1, and port 2, we have a computer connected as COM2. And let's connect on the port 3, that's basically COM3. Okay. So the default behavior of the FortiGate firewall is it does not allow communication from one port to another port. For example, if you try to ping COM1 to COM2, the permission will not be allowed. This is like I'm talking about the default behavior. Okay. So by default, we cannot ping from COM1 to COM2 because they are in the different ports they are connected to. So we have a default policy in the FortiGate firewall that says that any source, destination any, and any service, like any port you're trying to communicate, okay, that's the section is deny. Deny means that you're not permitted from any source to any destination by default. So even like if you want to communicate back from ping from port this COM2 to COM1, that will also not be allowed. Any of the things will not be allowed to cross to from one to other one. This is like a default behavior of the FortiGate. We have some like similar features which could be available in other firewalls. For example, we have our Cisco ASA, right? Let me change the color. For example, we have our ASA here. Okay. So that's having the concept of our security level. So for example, we have our internal zone, external, and DMZ. So let's suppose, for example, any user tries to go from internal to external, they can, because this internal have a security level of 100 and external have the security level of 0. So by default, it allows the communication from higher security level to lower security level. But if external user wants to ping to internal, they cannot. It's not permitted. Same way from internal to DMZ, because DMZ is having the security level of 50. So internal to DMZ it will work, but from DMZ to internal it will not work. Same way, external to DMZ may not work. So this is the like concept of the Cisco ASA. So it will be different from the for the different vendors, different firewalls. But whatever I was explaining before, that is related to the FortiGate, and that's valid and true, and that works fine. Any question in the default behavior of the firewall?
So both ports are in the same VLAN or it is on the different VLANs?
So whenever we talk about this VLANs, if it doesn't mean that whether you put on the same VLAN or on a different VLAN. Like if you uh, for example, even if you put on the same VLAN, but there are different ports, you're not allowed to communicate because this is a default behavior. From one port to another port, you are not able to communicate. So same VLAN means that you have, in short, I can say that you have the routing to be allowed, but they will not communicate with each other.
Okay.
All right. So let me show you the firewall, that how basically it is there and how it works. Okay. So let me jump to the lab section. Okay, I think just a minute, let me check the username. I missed it. Sadhu is there? Okay, that was on the Chrome. Got that, yeah. Yeah, let me type it, I think. Hold on. Yep, I'm in. Thanks. All right, guys. So this is the lab. We are going to see it. Like you also practice on this one. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit so that you can view it properly. Okay, so this is like entire lab. You will be also getting an access to practice. Okay, so if I configure it or start my devices, if you see the connectivity, let me show you the connectivity, the basic one. Okay, so what we have here, like we have our uh, internal users, right? These are like so these are like the default users, right? So who are having like behind the branch firewall. This is your branch firewall, okay? And they have a connectivity to the data center. So this will be your data center. So you can see it here like DC. We have two firewalls deployed in the data center, and behind that you will be having the different servers, right? So I have added one machine as well. So like so you can just practice based on that one. And for example, for the today's session, what we are going to do, we will be trying to take any of the machine from here, okay, and we will try to go to the internet to our firewall. So I will just switch it on, and then slowly, like our traffic will be moving from here to switch and to the internet.
Hello, sir. I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Are you able to share the lab on the chat?
On the chat, I cannot, but later on, like if you go for it, you will get an access to this lab and you can practice. Okay. And okay. So let me move it this way. so that it do not confuse us in between. Like, all right. So for example, we start our this firewall here. Okay. And all the paths in between, we will start this switch as well as this switch. And any of the machine, let's take the first one. So this is the console of our firewall. Okay, you can just click on the firewall and it will open the console. So you will see that it is asking me to log in. So that if you log in the first time, it will take the credentials as username as an admin, and there's no password. Like in this case, I will just hit enter. But I have some configuration here, so I will use my password. So let me tell you that if you log in the first time, what is going to happen? You enter the credential username as an admin. These are like default credentials, okay, and no password. In the case of password, you just hit enter without any password. You don't have to write anything, don't type anything, just hit enter. It will ask you to change your password. And once again, so make sure when you are changing the password, you make it an alphanumeric. Okay, just simple, regular, like password or regular characters will not be working. So make sure that you uh, put the little complex password. All right. And if I go for the, for example, if I do on the, this is the firewall, right? So if I start this firewall and I can show you that how it comes in the first time. Okay. So there's no configuration on this. So if I click here, this goes to the console. Okay. So that's how it is takes the first time, because there was no configuration on the DC firewalls. So it does. Okay. Giving some error, I think. Okay. So if I use that username as an admin and password, I don't enter anything and just I hit enter. Okay. I think it's also changed most probably. No worries. In the next upcoming classes, I will show you. I think it's simple one. You can like see this clearly. This is very simple, not a complex one. So I think I have some configuration here as well. Okay. So not to worry. We'll focus on our the lab part. So if I check this firewall and if I see the what configuration I have on the management, right? Show interface, so system interface and port one. Okay, so because our port one is connected to the administrator, right? So from that way, I'll be logging on the GUI. So if I see here, the IP address configured here is 172.16.24.189. So you might be seeing also that I have tried to log on from here. So I know the IP address, but I just want to show you that how you can check even if you don't know the IP address. You can use this command, show system interface, port one, and using that IP address, I can log on to the firewall. So if I log in, right now you can see it, right? It's asking me to log it in. Let me delete this. So it's asking me to change some of the things like specify host name, change password has I have already done. So that's tick, and upgrade firmware. That's also like fine. So I will do the things of later. You can also, whenever you're trying to log in the first time, you can just click on the later if you're not interested. Okay. And very first thing, whenever you log on, it shows the status like this. Okay. So if you are seeing this firewall or GUI the first time, let me explain you some of the options that how they look like. Okay. So very first thing you will see the host name here. So we usually have some standard in every organization. So based on that, you will follow if you are like configuring in the production environment, you will follow that standard, and based on that, you will give that name. Just don't keep that the default one like as you see here at the Fortigate VM64K. Like let's suppose you have 50 firewalls in your enterprise in your organization, and if the same host name in your like Fortigate VM64 KVM or the hardware name if you bought the hardware, right? So you will get confused that which firewall I'm logged on. So that's why every organization keeps some standard naming conventions. So looking at that name, they can understand that on which location it is, which firewall it is, and then they proceed for the configuration part. After that one, you see some serial number here. Okay, this is the unique for every firewalls. Then we have the firmware. You can say like we call it as a 40 OS. This is similar to like in the Cisco router we have iOS version, right? The software operating system you can say, or if you have exposure of the Palo Alto, they call it as like Pan OS. So similarly, they have keep the same name. 40 is their company name, Fortinet, and then they say it as a 40 OS. Okay, but here in the firewall we call it as a firmware. So if somebody is saying that 40 OS upgrade or firmware upgrade, they are referring the same thing. Okay, mode is NAT. So we have two modes, NAT and transparent mode. So currently it's configured as a NAT mode. System time, you can see that what is the system time right now. Okay, and what how much time it has been on. So usually you see the minutes, but if you see in the production environment, it could be the years. Like 2 years, your firewall is still running. 3 years, your firewall is still running. I have seen the firewalls like they're continuously running from 9 or 10 years. They have not taken any restart. Okay, so it just depends like which type of the firewall you're having, and if they do not go to any issues, they continuously running. They or sometimes it is recommended like whenever it goes for very longer time, you take a maintenance window and give them a restart. It like feels good. Like if you keep on working, you feel frustrated or feel tired. If you take a nap, you feel energetic. So same thing is for the machines. Uh, you can give them a restart after 2 years or 3 years if they're running quite long. If you see the license features here, you can see the license section that what are the licenses available. Okay. And that you can download from the Forti support portal of the Fortinet and you can install it. Administrators, you can see that who are the admins. So currently it's like logged in that admin, what I'm logged in. You can also see the allocated CPUs, that how many CPUs is it having, what is the RAM it is available, and how much it is allocated. Very important thing, which is our session information, right? If you scroll down a little bit, you see the CPU uses, that how much current uses it is, how much there is a memory uses, and how many sessions are running. So these are like last 1 minute session summarize. And these are very important because if you do not monitor them, they are going out of limit, out of the capacity of your firewall. For example, you bought a Fortigate 1500D. Okay, so that has a certain data sheet, certain specification that it can handle only 1 million sessions, and your sessions are going beyond 1 million, then your CPU and memory users will go high and your firewall may take a restart. So it will be like unplanned an outage, right? So just keep on monitoring these values. Normally, SOC or the monitoring team, NOC, they are monitoring these values, but these are important. Like if you do not configure this monitoring, you may end up a situation of the unplanned outage. We have some other features, like if you see in the left-hand side, right? So you can see the status. We have security, networks, user devices. So it's not possible to navigate all of them all together. We have a network section here. You can see the interfaces, DNS, packet capture also we can do here. And you see that the routing features are also available. Static route, policy routes, RIP, OSPF, BGP, routing objects, right? So these are like all router features. So whenever we say the firewall, it also includes all the features of the routers, right? It is a security device, but includes all the features of the routing as well. You can check out the policy and objects. We can create the firewall policies. So here we will be creating all the policies. Based on that only, our firewall will take decision that whether I have to allow that packet or drop based on the policy we have the configured, right? We have the objects or addresses configured. These are like name of the object we'll be creating on the firewall. So if you don't know these, don't worry. We will cover up this everything in the detail in the coming sessions. Services, schedules, virtual IPs, and all. We have some security profiles as well. So these are basically, you can say these are the next generation firewall features. So you can see here the antivirus feature, web filter, video filter, DNS filter, application control, intrusion prevention, file filter, inspection, application signature. So a lot of features are available, and they make them as a next generation firewall rather than the legacy firewalls. VPN concept is also involved. We can configure our IPsec tunnel or the SSL VPNs. So like all of them you can configure from this section. Users are also supported, like based on the users, not only on the IP addresses, we can also configure the rules based on the user ID, whatever the user's username it is allowed to. It also able to integrate with the LDAP server or Radius servers, right? So we can use these features. We have some testing system settings here. We can go through those as well whenever the configuration required. At the end, we have our log and report sections, and this is very important whenever you go for the troubleshooting in the production environment. It is uh, very easy to configure that you have configured, but the things are working properly or not. It comes to the troubleshooting. So that's clear. You are quite lucky that if they uh, work working intended as you have configured, if you have done the configuration and they are not working as required, you have to struggle with this uh, options log and report. You investigate the traffic, and then where it is blocked, what I have to permit or what new configuration I have to do, that you have to look at here. So Joseph, you can remove your video. I think it is disturbing others. You can shut down your video. That's fine. So that's how like log and reports features available. And today our focus was to look onto the default policy, what is available. So I think there was some policy already available. Let me delete that. Okay. And we will create that once again. So right now I'm going to delete that. Cool. So by default, we have a policy named as our implicit deny. This policy says implicit deny that all source, like any of the source, going to all destination and all the services and action is deny. So from any source to any destination, the traffic, whatever you format, that will be denied. It will be blocked. It will not allow to pass through the firewall. But my practice, like I wanted to reach from this device, which is basically this machine, user one, and try to ping to the internet. So some of you might be aware in the internet, or most common is our Google DNS. So we will try to ping the Google DNS 8.8.8. Okay, so if I do the same thing from my local PC, let's see if I can do it or not. I should be able to do it, but let me just check it. Okay, so if I ping 8.8.8, that's working, right? This is my local PC, you can say, or the the remote desktop I'm connected to, right? From here, my ping is working. But same thing, if I do from this machine, user one, I have to check that whether it is working or not. So very first thing, we have to check the configuration of this IP machine, VPC, that whether any IP is configured or not. So if I run the command as show IP, currently there is no IP configured. Okay, you see that there's a blank. I wanted to configure IP address. Same IP will configure whatever is mentioned here on the bottom, 1037.10.10.10. Okay, so if I put IP and hit enter, it shows me the syntax that how I can configure the IP address. So I will use this syntax to configure an IP address. Here, this 10.1165 is the default gateway. So in our case, I will use the default gateway of the firewall. All the traffic exiting from here will take the default gateway of the firewall. So in the firewall, we have two interfaces, port 2 and port 3. So let's see that which one is configured right now. Anyone can suggest that which one can take the traffic from port 2 or port 3, from where it should go. Port 2
I think
or port 3?
port two.
Port 2. Okay. How do you know that?
Just, yeah.
Just a guess.
Yeah. No, this is kind of the firewall. No, from 6.
Okay. Okay. So how can we verify? We can just go to the firewall and we can
Can see
check
the
the
interfaces.
interfaces, correct. So we'll go to the network interfaces and let's see which one is configured. So only one is configured as of now, port 2 and port 3 is not configured. So port 1 and port 2 are configured. Okay. So port 2 is having an IP address of 1037.10.1. And that's what it is going to be the default gateway for this machine. 1037.10.1. Okay. So if I configure IP address, IP, and first it will take my IP, like the IP address of the machine, that will be 10.37.10.10, and subnet, it is going to be /24. And now the default gateway. The default gateway IP, whatever is configured on the firewall. We just checked it. That is 1037.10.1. Okay, hit enter. So it will check that duplicate IP address is configured or not. It's configured. So if I run that command show IP now you will see that it has configured the IP address 1037.10.10 and the gateway is configured as 1037.10.1. So now the IP address on this machine is configured now. If I ping to my default gateway, not default gateway, yeah, let's pick the default gateway first. 1037.10.1. Okay, so I'm getting the response from the default gateway. So it is working fine. Means that the connectivity till here, right, from this machine up to here, it is fine because this is configured here. This 1037.10.1 is configured on this interface. So I'm able to ping it. It means that connectivity till here, it is fine, right? Any question in this? No, right? This is quite simple. So now if I try to ping the Google DNS, internet 8.8, it is saying as the request timed out. Do I find this one in the log? Let's check it out. If I go to log and report here and check the forward traffic, there's nothing here. So like ICMP traffic, we usually, on this case, we don't find, otherwise we usually see it, okay? Anyway, so this is the drop just because we have the default policy configured, which is configured as a implicit NI. right? We have the firewall policy, and that says implicit deny, like from anywhere to anywhere, everything is blocked. You cannot go to the internet from here. What should I do now?
You have to add a policy.
Cool. Yeah. So I will create a new policy. So I clicked on the create new policy. Name I will give as a test internet. Okay. Incoming interface. It says the incoming interface. So incoming interface means that on the firewall from which interface it is coming. So it is coming from which interface?
Port
On the
2.
firewall? Port 2. Correct. So we will go to port 2. And what will be the outgoing? Outgoing will be our port 5, right? It is going to internet this way. So we will take the outgoing interface as a port 5. And in the normal scenarios, we confine our source at the specific IP, but just we are creating the test policy. So I will permit all source as of now and towards the all destination. Obviously, like whenever you are configuring rule for the internet, you do not restrict the destination. We always set as an all. And service, I'm interested to ping it. So I will just allow all ICMP. Okay. Not any other ports. Because I'm quite interested in the all ICMP. And NAT, I will enable it because I need to go to the internet. So I'll be explaining NAT once again whenever we have that topic coming in our queue, right? So we'll be covering this later on in the detail, all the NAT. Okay. So we'll use this same as it is. We'll no change on that. And let's log all the sessions. And these all security profiles as of now, I'm putting off and just click OK. Now I have a policy set which says that it test internet, all ICMP, except and traffic is allowed. So we'll be able to ping now from here?
No.
No? Okay. Somebody says no. Why? Anyone else says yes or no? Write in the chat. That will be easy. Yes, no. I want a voting here. What do you say? It will be able to ping or not? Yeah, no worries. Either you say wrong or right. Doesn't matter, right? You should vote it, right? It doesn't matter in the elections that which party wins. We should vote. We should do our job. No voting? Okay, if there is no voting, let's jump onto the real scenarios and let's do ping now. Oh, I'm lucky enough. It is working. You see, it's working now. Correct? Why it is working? Because we have permitted to the policy to cross through our firewall. And only problem which was blocking, that was our policy. Isn't it? Any question in this? Or you have some doubt that why it should not ping? No question?
Why ping log traffic not showing in logs? The traffic.
Yeah, this is, I should say that it should be visible here, but because of,
Okay.
I think it might take some time to show it here.
Okay.
I cannot exact, but usually it shows ICMP
Yeah,
traffic. But here
okay.
it could be some reason that it is not showing here. So let's check one more machine. Okay. This is one more machine. Let me start it. This is basically, this was a VPC, what we are practicing with the user one. We have a user 3 here. which is like a normal Windows machine. Okay, so you see it here. You
So
see,
firewall taken netting using netting that was pingable. After that only that was pingable. We have
correct,
enabled
correct.
that.
Yeah, we enabled NAT. Yeah. So I see like anybody wants to see the NAT configuration. So meanwhile it is starting, let me show you that. So NAT configuration, I think the same was visible on the screen. That's not the complex one. You can see it here, right? NAT, and it is saying as the use outgoing interface address to go outside.
So from
Okay.
firewall point of view, you won't be able to see that what the NAT address is being used.
I can see it. Let me show you. I will show you. That's why I started a new machine. You will to view it from there.
And talking about the real scenario, this is setting up the NAT is the good practice or keeping it in the transparent? What would be the best?
It just depends on a requirement. Most of the people keep it in the NAT mode. But
Mhm.
just it depends on the requirement of the organization. Sometimes they keep it on the NAT, and if they want, they can also configure on the transnet mode. It just depends on the organizations.
Yeah, one more question. So this NAT is a dynamic NAT or static NAT?
This is dynamic.
Okay.
That you can see it here is saying as a
Mhm.
dynamic. Okay, it's not showing here, but this is the dynamic NAT, basically patch.
Mhm.
Okay, so use dynamic IP and pool. Use going into it. This whenever we use this one, it
Mhm.
goes a path. Different ports it will be taking and going out.
Mhm.
So if I have, whenever I have configured this, enabled this user 3 here, okay, so this machine you can say that's like Windows 10 machine, okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
and now I want to configure the IP address on this one. If I go, so if I type run, sometimes this Zoom like disturbs me. Just a bit, huh? Okay, let me move this up. Yeah, that's better. Usually it minimize, and sometimes it takes to minimize, times it take to minimize it. Run, and I want to, so you can also use this uh, shortcut. This is ncpa.cpl. It basically opens all the adapters on your machine. Okay. So this is used to configure the IP addresses that whenever you want to configure the IP addresses, it becomes a little bit easy. Okay.
Mhm.
And we have this adapter here. Okay. I think it needs more resources required, but I will modify that later. Otherwise, it will take some time. So here I want to change the IP address. So normally, if you see in the VPC, how I change the IP address or configure the IP addresses, that was like quite easy. I just uh, given a command and then it was just done. And whenever you have this Windows machine, it's little bulky, but you get the real practice, right? So I will configure the IP address, whatever I have in the lab. So that is basically this 1037.10 12. Okay. 1037, 10, 12, and subnet mask really having 255, 255.0, and the gateway will be .1, the same as it was for the other one. 10.1. Okay. .1. And the DNS, I will put the 8.8.8. Click OK. It's done. And if I close, and now let's check what is the IP here. Okay. Like we just cross verify that whether IP has been configured there or not. No, that's fine. IP config. So this command is also, I think, should be very familiar to you. If not, keep that in mind. So our IP is set. Whatever IP I configured it, now I can see it here. So as per the policy, because we have permitted all the sources to go to the internet should be working here. So if I open this machine here, okay, and like I'm opening the Chrome now inside this user 3 machine, okay, not on my lab or something. This is a user 3, which is opened on this terminal console. And here I am trying to open the youtube.com. Okay, it says there's no internet. Okay, if I open google.com, can't be reached. Okay, I think there could be some problem. Let me check the logs for this. At least I will be able to see the logs for this.
I think only ICMP is allowed, isn't?
Oh, yes, that's right. You got it right. We allowed only ICMP, so I think we have to change it. So if we go to the policy, so we should be able to see the logs now. If I go to the forward traffic here, you see the very first thing it is trying to, okay, these are the previous one that you are saying about the, uh, whenever we're trying to ping, right? Those logs, we see it now. I think there's some delay to, and usually I think it is there. So that we see it, that where it was allowed before that we try to ping, right? That those logs we can see it here. But now we want to view the access the internet. So I will go to this test internet, edit, and this time I will, for the simplicity, will put as an all. And that should access to my youtube.com. Okay, so I see like forward circle moving, little positive. It will work. So, okay. So you see that it is loading now. It's working fine, right? So at least we have the connectivity. So this is not like your personal machine and you will use it for the watching the YouTube. This is just for the practical sessions, right? So now we can access the internet once we permit on the firewall. So it's better that it was restricted before. It's like whenever you do not allow it, your firewall restricts that traffic and do not permit it. Whenever you allow through the policy, and now you see that it is working fine. If I open the google.com, it could be a little faster. Because YouTube has a lot of videos and thumbnails, so it becomes little slow. Right? So Google page is opening. So anyways, I will close this YouTube. So load this faster. So we have the internet access basically. Okay. Now if I go to the logs, you see there's a lot of logs now, huge log, and everything. Sometimes they are going to youtube.com, microsoft.com, you see clients google.com. Now you can see all the logs. If you see the more details, you can click or double click any of these logs and you can see them as like this. You can see the time, at what time it was initiated, duration, session ID, what it was, what was its actual IP, where it was translated to. Okay, so you see that NAT IP. I think somebody was asking that I can see the NAT IP or not. So that's like your NAT IP. And this is the public IP of the destination. Whenever you try to access this website, this is something like G-static or something it was. Okay, and it was using the HTTPS service port 443. Okay, and that's how basically you can see all these details in the log sections. So these are very important whenever you see or you stuck when you have the situation that your connectivity is not working, you troubleshoot that, okay, this is getting dropped, and then you come back here, right? Any question in this till now? No, okay, that's cool. So if you have any, okay, everything is clear. That's cool. So if you have any technical questions, I'll be here for like 5 minutes. Else we will. Okay, we have one more question. That can we allow only specific application like YouTube, sir? Yeah, obviously we can do that. We have uh, option here in the security profiles. We have this application control. Okay, and in this application control, you can create application profile and you can attach that in the security policy. Okay, so whatever the application profile you have created and you attach it there, that only will be allowed to Classroom. So yes, you can uh, do that one, like creating a application wise graphic, you can allow it. Based on, in fact, the YouTube is having the multiple applications like YouTube browsing, downloading, and all. So those also can segregately you can commit and block based on your requirement.
So yeah, the next generation firewall features, so whatever are there, like web security filter. So all this will come when we purchase the firewall, or is our subscription based that?
Yeah, you need a license for those.
Okay, for each feature if you want to use.
For each, exactly, yeah.
Okay. And would you able to give some details about that hardware port and software support?
Hardware port, basically, like you mean that whatever the VM we are using?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now, if you see it here, we are using that VM series, right? So in the VM series, like it has a certain requirement of its hard disk and memory and CPU uses. So those you can like wherever on any NSX platform you are installing that image, or let's suppose you are going on the cloud, AWS or Azure, anywhere you are installing, you have certain requirements that how many sessions it can handle. Based on that, you need certain resources. Like for example, you have 50,000 sessions per second requirement. So you need 8 GB RAM or 16 GB RAM. Okay. So, and certain disk. So that you can have to check on the data sheet of the firewall, and then you can check it out. For the hardware series, you can check it like 200, 1500, 3000 series. Like you can see the portfolio if I open it right now. Fortigate hardware models.
Fortigate have lot of model is there.
Correct. There are a lot of hardware models are available. Like
You
they
can
have the
check
different.
that the Fortigate 200, 200D, 300, 100, 110 series. Everything is there.
Correct. So based on the requirement, we buy that one. Like because if you like requirement is less, you have very less traffic, so you no need to go for 1500 or 3000 series. You rather than buy 200 and your job is done. Why to waste a lot of money? So
Yes,
that's
yes.
like basically the purpose of that one. And it also has like the processing speed, how many ports it will be available. So you can check this in the product matrix. I think the first one. Yeah, there it is. You see, there's like different models are available. Like you, 48 70F, FG 80F, right? If you
These are
go
the entry level model.
correct. So if you go bottom little bit, you can see more versions, right? 100F. Keep going down, you will see like 400F, 600, 900. Keep going down, you will get more like 3000 series, right? So, and some of them are like coming as a rugged series, uh, specification coming out like what is the slot size that can be installed on your rack. So, like the different specification required by different users. Like you have like one RU space available on your rack where you could need to install it. So, based on that, you buy that specific hardware. So that's like different requirement to the vendors to like where you have to install it. Based on that, we take the decision that which one we have to buy it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other question?
In the coming classes, we'll be teaching about the best practices on the firewalls. What do you get?
Yep. We will be taking up that. We will taking like topic wise. Like suppose we
Okay.
are talking about the security policies, then best practice on that, then that's how like topic wise we'll be covering that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we can use this FortiGate firewall instead of branch router, WAN router. We can use that.
Now in the topology, you mean?
Yeah, not this lab. Generally, we can also use like in branch router, WAN router. We can use FortiGate firewall as instead of,
Yep. You can
and that will
because
function as routing as well as security both.
correct. Yeah. So for example, your ISP is terminating rather than the router, you can directly terminate your ISP connection to your firewall.
Okay,
That
so
can wait.
it will function both at the same time.
Yeah, same way. So NAT you will be doing on the firewall. Sometimes like because of the load and the resources perspective, the people do the policy and all on the firewall. NATing part they do on the WAN router. So
And I think
that's what they.
this is also
Mhm.
this is also supportable SD-WAN, right?
Yeah, it supports. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So any other question?
And this firewall interface port will act as this software switch interface port and hardware interface port.
Software interface port, what do you mean that one? Basically, like it is normal port, right? So
Mhm.
you mean that virtual port, you mean?
So recently we have encountered that the customer wanted to have that convert this port to that hardware switch interface ports. So I think it is we got an age thinks that is there are two types of the ports are hardware and the software ports that let me share
They
this.
might be talking about this FortiLink.
Not PhotoLink. This interface port is
So these are the physical interfaces we are having, right? You see, these only options are available.
Yeah, let me check.
If I in the net interface section, this is the VM. Otherwise, they will be talking about the virtual interfaces like we are having the router. That could be they will be referring to.
So this training is only related to Fortigate firewall all. Do we have any syllabus like in Fortigate firewall? What is stuff this training will cover? Like Fortigate OS, like OS upgrade or what
Yeah,
all things.
topic could have been provided to you. If not, I will ask.
I was joined late, so yeah, just wanted to know.
No, we do not cover that in this session, but like if you need, I think your coordinator may provide that one. We have like curriculum that what we are going to cover in this complete session. Yeah.
Okay. Because in our company that they are replacing all routers with Fortigate firewall. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. What all are covering? So if that is good, so that would be good for me.
Okay, sure. Yeah. You can ask your coordinator or to whom you are contacting. They will be helping you out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. I'm just dropping off. Thanks.
You can wait for like our coordinator will be having like more details about this session. So this is any technical question you have, you can ask me. Otherwise, Sajid will be taking over and will explain you the more detail about this course that how we are going to cover it. So Sajid, hand over to you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So meanwhile, anyone have that any technical question they can ask. Otherwise,
Yes, Sanjay, do we have a HA practice in our class section?
yes, HA will be covered. Yeah.
Will cover, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the requirement for HA? Same hardware version and same firmware version of the no?
Sorry, come again.
No. So what's the requirement for the HA? The same hardware and the same firmware version, right?
Yeah, the same. Like their requirement is like they should be everything same.
Everything same. Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. So
Yeah. So hello everyone. Sajid is your student relationship manager and your counselor. So I am here to give you details regarding course enrollment and pricing part and all. So guys who are already enrolled to this course and all, so they can drop off. This is discussion related to course enrollment and pricing part and access and materials. Okay. So rest you guys can hear. So let me start with the first slide. So I will show you here. So will be course syllabus and schedules. The timings I'm going to just explain you guys. So here this will be going to be a 3-in-1 combo firewall package. So here we are going to cover total 3 firewalls. Like as of now, you guys have attended the first session for the Fortigate NEC4 training with the troubleshoot. Okay, and then next maybe the session for the for Palo Alto firewall, and here we are going to cover PCNSA and PCNAC both papers. And with this, after this one, so the next will be the Cisco ASA FTD Firewall, or else you can say Firewall 2. Okay, so this will be going to be a 3-in-1 combo. So 3 major firewalls we are going to cover here in this batch. Okay, and The timings related to this course is this will be going to be a weekday batch, Monday to Friday, 5 days in a week. And the timings will be from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. IST. So usually in case if the topic should needed to be covered, so in that case the time may be extended for 15 to 20 minutes more in some case. And the total duration for this course is around 4 months, so it may take 5 months too. Okay, and related to the, like as of now we are starting the Fortigate first module, and after this there may be a Palo Alto or there may be a Cisco ASA Firewall. So once we have done either in Palo Alto or Fortigate, so rest remaining fire will be taken at the last at the end. Okay, and let me give you details regarding course enrollment and access details. So access what we are going to provide you guys, those who are going to enroll. So we'll be providing you the lifetime recording access of your classes, so that you will be getting in the our web portal. So like your live train which we are conducting through Zoom meeting, that recordings you will be getting on the web portal, so that in future if you want to go through the videos, if you want to practice something, if you are preparing something for interviews or your organization works, so you can go through there and that will remain with you for lifetime access. And regarding remote lab access, we are providing you guys, so we'll be providing you 24/7 remote lab access that you can access it totally remotely, which are present on our servers and cloud servers. Okay, for each firewall we are going to provide you 4 months of remote lab access that you can access it totally remotely, 24/7 unlimited. Whenever you want, you can access the labs. For each module you will be getting the 4 months of lab access. Let's say for the Fortigate you will be getting the 4 months of lab access. For Palo Alto you will be getting the 4 months of lab access, and for Cisco ASA Firepower you will be getting the 4 months of lab access that you can access totally. Overall you can count for 12 months of remote lab access that you can access it 24/7. Whenever you want you can access it. And we'll be providing you the materials like workbooks, PPTs, PDFs, step-by-step lab manuals. All the materials we'll be providing you that you can download and you can keep it with you as well, and that will also remain with you for lifetime access. Okay, your G drive access will be remains for the lifetime. And we'll be providing you the home lab setup as well. Like if you have the good configuration of your system, then we will help you to set up a home lab. Just you need to do one thing is you need to download the required files from our G drive. So we'll be redirecting you the after enrollment, the procedure will be there. So after the downloading all the files and all the required materials, so you just need to just notify us via our support email. One of our team member will connect with you and we will do the home lab setup on your laptop, and that will also remains with you for lifetime access. Whenever you want you can access on your laptop, and you'll be having lifetime recording access for your class recordings. And we'll be providing you the 24/7 backend support from our network unity. Like if you are facing any issues, any queries regarding to the course or regarding to the portal or regarding to the labs, like while you are practicing the lab, if you are not able to move forward for your next steps, so in that case you just need to raise a ticket on our support TL. One of our team member will connect with you and we will resolve your issues accordingly in meantime. Okay, and these are course access and materials which we are going to provide you. Okay, and